All right. Going live in one, two.
Hi.
Welcome to What's Troubling You with
Chantel.
and Charlene. We are excited today. Happy New Year to everyone that's out there that's watching us today. This is our first coming back session, and we are super excited because today we're going to talk about a poignant conversation about something that's going to help you to embark upon the new year. And with us, we have Dr. Thelma Foster. Woo! She's our first guest for 2022. And we purposely, I know this was a God moment that we were able to get her to come out and talk to us and for us to have a conversation and to help everybody, help ourselves as well. You know, we're going to do a topic today and it's called Overcoming the Fear of Failure. Oh my goodness, what a topic, okay? This is the topic for us to do now so that we can progress in 2022. Dr. Thelma, welcome, girl. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, let me tell you, let me share a little bit about me. And I'm so excited. Yeah, first of all, let me just say I am just excited just to be here, just to be invited, just to share some stuff to put in your tube belt and share my journey, some of my journey. Let me tell you what, when I tell you it has been a phenomenal season. And this season, because I have learned on this season, on this journey, that is no coincidence, no accident. Everything is on purpose. And while we're going through this journey, we don't understand it while we're going through it. But let me tell you, when I tell you put some tools in your tool belt, and I'm going to share some tools with you today, how to be strong, how to be courageous, and how to be successful and move forward. I tell you, and don't get stuck in the fear, because a lot of times I'm Dr. Thelma. I'm an LPC counselor. I'm a life coach. I'm a parent instructor coach. And also I work with people that have found themselves stuck. And let me share with you. Let me go back and just share some things with you. I haven't always been that, Dr. Thelma. I haven't always been that life coach. I haven't always been that LPC counselor. I haven't. When I tell you a lot of that is just paper and fluff, let me tell you what. I want to encourage some people that's out there. Don't get stuck in the journey, because the journey, when you get to this journey, the end of the journey, then you get to your destiny. You don't know what's all entailed in you reaching your destiny. But if you don't give up and you don't quit while moving forward, you will surely get there. Okay.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited. And just as a caveat, those who are jumping on now, we want you to know, please post your questions. And if you don't get a chance to see this now and you're watching it after we finish today, you can go out later on this evening and go out to YouTube to What's Troubling You, discuss it's conversations with Chantel and Charlene. It's out on YouTube, and you can go out there and you can see not only today's post, but you can also see an array of what we did last year in 2021. Right. And you might find a conversation and a discussion just for you that is going to help you, that's going to enlighten you. So we're going to jump in, and as we get questions, we're going to pose the questions as well. Chantel, you want to start us off?
All right, I need a definition of failure, because a lot of people don't know what failure is, and they don't know the correct definition. So what would you describe?
What would I say? Well, failure to different people, different things. Failure to each individual is not the same. The closest definition that I can give you to failure is the opposite of success. Because a lot of people when they look at failure, they can't. First of all, I'm gonna give you three, when I say failure, three stages of failure. Because but sometimes failure is not always in your professional. It can be in your life. It can be um what has been spoken over you from growing up. What if you got, for instance, I'm gonna use it myself as a metaphor. I like to use myself a lot because this journey that I have been on. When I grew up in an environment where I was called you dumb, you stupid, you're never gonna be anything. You're gonna be just like your mother, and this and that and this and that. And so as I was being told those things, I internalized it and I believe that. And
Mhm.
so for many, many years, it caused me to be stuck. And so one failure, the actionless failure. I call that actionless because this failure, you might have a great idea, brand new idea, and then something happens, and then all of a sudden you do nothing because you're unable to move forward. You're unable to come up with an idea, and you just don't know what to do to help yourself to move forward.
Mhm.
Then this other failure, the unprepared failure. This failure here, on the path of being successful, you run into a roadblock. You hit a roadblock and you don't, and this roadblock can be you have made so many mistakes over the course of a lifetime. You've tried different stuff, you worked on different stuff, and it just did not work. And so this roadblock can cause you to give up. And if you don't learn how to research and get strategies on how to move forward, you will stay stuck in the journey and you won't move forward. And the
Mhm.
next one is a teachable. It's a teachable failure. Now, this failure here, it's not always bad. Because if you're gonna pick a failure, this is the one that you want. But nobody really wants a failure. But most successes come out of your failures. How many times that you failed at a particular thing and you don't give up. Now, this failure here, you would know this failure because it will teach you something. You will get something to put in your tool belt so you can be strong, successful, and courageous. And this failure here will not hold you down. This failure, if you're willing and if you're obedient and if you're sensitive to it, you're gonna learn something in this failure here. You're gonna learn how to go forward. And even if you get stuck for a minute, I tell my people this all the time. Even if you get stuck for a minute, you have to, like, for this is a metaphor. For instance, if you run into a roadblock on the freeway, traffic is all stopped. All of a sudden, you're trying to navigate yourself to get around that roadblock. So sometimes it's good to pull off on the freeway. And then when you go down the service road a little bit, you're gonna stop at the stop sign. That way you will calibrate your brain and you look both ways, or you can go to the left, go to the right, or you can pull forward. So, but either way it goes, there's an out in that failure. If you don't quit, if you don't give up on you, get back on it, calibrate your thinking, get you some new strategies, and move forward beyond the roadblock.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say failure to me. That's my rendition of failure.
Can you say the third one again? What's the third one again?
The third one is
Teachable.
the teachable.
Teachable failure. Okay.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
teachable
Okay.
failure.
All
That's
right.
the one where you're learning. You get your if you need a mentor, get a mentor. See, I'm not beyond getting a mentor because I tell you one thing I've learned in this journey. I don't know everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't confess to knowing everything. I am teachable. I am moldable. So if you're teachable and moldable, you can move forward beyond this failure. This failure here, it won't keep you if you don't let it.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So when we talk about that, the other part of that, this title was fear. Okay. Fear is an emotion. that we know that, but could you elaborate more on this particular emotion, fear?
Fear. That fear is the most powerful of all emotions. That fear will keep you stuck for a whole lifetime if you let it. But the thing of it is, until you get to a point, now you won't get to this point overnight. Sometimes it takes a life learning. Then all of a sudden you get a aha moment. But that fear is so powerful. It will keep you. It will tell that fear will give you all kind of shadow in your brain to tell you that you're never going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
There's other people that try to do it and it didn't work for them. So
Yeah.
I don't know why you even trying it. And look, I even with myself, I took my LPC exam. I've had people to tell me, well, Dr. Velma, you don't have to tell people that. You don't have to know. All they have to know is that you passed one time. I took that test 7 times. 7 times before I passed it.
And I think it's
not-
important that you tell people that so they can understand that it may not
Exactly,
happen the
Chantel.
first 2 times. You might have to
Exactly.
keep going, but you can't give up.
Exactly,
give up.
Chantel.
Mhm.
Exactly. Because if we're not transparent and tell people the truth, I'm an advocate on telling people the truth and disclose some of your secret stuff. Because if you don't tell people, they look at you like we're in a perfect world, and we're not in a perfect world.
Yeah.
We have flaws and we mess up.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something about that fear. That fear sometimes is false evidence appearing real. That's the acronym.
Mhm.
False evidence appearing real. And when that fear, when we attack from that fear, let me tell you what, that fear looks so big. Oh my God. It looks like a big mountain, but it's only a mustard seed.
Mhm.
But when we see it, it looks like a big mountain. You say, "Oh well, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe I need to give up. Maybe I just need to do something different. Maybe this was for somebody else, and maybe this was not for me."
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. You know,
yeah.
that transparency is so
Mhm.
important, especially in our profession,
Mhm.
because sometimes that small bit of transparency is the key that unlocks the door to that person
Mhm.
saying, you're my
Mhm.
therapist. You're the one I
Right.
want to learn from.
Mhm.
You're the one, if they're
Mhm.
resistant to therapy, that whole
Right.
transparency, we don't have to give full self-disclosure about our whole life,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
transparency enough. And I think, and you're
Right.
right, because you and I were on this road together,
Oh yeah.
trying to pass that LPC and,
Yes.
the NCE exam for the LPC.
Yes.
And it was a hard road,
Oh
it
my
was a
God.
hard road. And
Mhm.
I remember you and I just talking about this
Mhm.
and just believing for one another.
Mhm.
And I remember some of our conversation,
Oh yes.
just because somebody else connected us.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I
You
didn't
know,
even know
that's why
you.
it's
I
no
didn't know you.
coincidence and nothing is by accident.
Right.
Mhm.
And somebody,
In fact, someone from another state, someone from a total another state that on this site that we on for LPC,
yeah,
trying to take,
right.
yes, uh-huh,
Oh, so right. It was somebody from another state. It
from
sure
another
was.
state.
It
Hmm.
sure was. It sure
Yes,
was.
yeah,
Then we found out we had a mutual friend.
yes,
Right,
sure
right,
did, sure
right.
did.
And honestly, had we not both been transparent on that site,
Right,
we wouldn't have crossed each other's paths.
exactly.
And so you're right, just
Mm-hmm.
not being apprehensive
Mm-hmm.
to situations that come about with us,
Right.
uh, that fear, because you'll be
Yeah.
fearful just to say something, fearful not to move ahead, but to let people know that, yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's a hard test, but you know what? We can do it.
Mm-hmm. And we
Mhm.
believed in each other.
We believed in each other. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I love that. And I love the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you said believe evidence, false evidence appearing real. I love
Mhm.
that acronym. I love
Mhm.
that, you know.
Mhm.
So just being able to understand that and break that down within ourselves. And so today
Exactly.
we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about overcoming that false sense, that false
Mhm.
evidence that appears to
Mhm.
be real and it's not.
And
You know,
it's not.
if we
Mm-mm.
believe that, you know, failing a test, saying that that's what qualifies me to be who I am,
Mhm.
that's just not real, because I knew what
Mm-mm.
my destiny was, right?
Mhm.
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 And I know what I
Mhm.
was destined to do. So
Exactly.
I don't have a calling to be a chef. I don't have a
Okay.
calling to be a model,
Mhm.
but I do have a calling to do therapy. And
Right.
Uh-huh.
you know, and I love the fact that, you know, I have a circle of sisters and friends. I have some brothers too who are therapists in the field, and we're out here
Mhm.
helping people. And I love that. I love it. I love
Mhm.
it. Chantel, you
Mhm.
have a question?
All right. So how would you describe the fear of failure and where does that come from?
Well, um, like I said a few minutes ago, it can come from the way you grew up. It can come from you not having enough confidence in yourself in order to move forward. Say, and what happens is,
Mhm.
I remember when I came up from a very abusive house, um, and what happens, you take on it come a you hit a roadblock where you have to decide, am I going to be a victim or am I going to be a champion?
That's right.
And so
Say that again.
yeah,
Say it again.
it, it comes from where you have to decide if you're going to be a victim or you're
Mhm.
going to be a champion.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I think we should kind of put a pin here for a minute, okay?
Uh-huh.
Because
Hmm.
I think a lot of people,
Mhm.
especially coming into the new year, have been
Hmm.
through a lot of situations,
Hmm.
okay, that might
Hmm.
have been disappointing, whether it's
Hmm.
been jobs lost or whether it's
Hmm.
been not being able to excel or even go into the career they want to go into,
Hmm.
Mhm.
um, or growing up
Yeah.
in a household or an environment that was
Yeah.
nurturing,
Hmm.
that kind of created this fear
Hmm.
or to believe that you're not
Hmm.
able to do.
Hmm.
And so one of the things that I like that I just heard is that we don't have to succumb to that.
No.
Right.
We
Right.
don't have to succumb to that, whether
Mm-mm.
you've been abused or
Mm-hmm.
whether you're around people who are not speaking life into you.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
you can be around people who are constantly condemning or using
Mm-hmm.
condemning terms,
Mm-hmm.
phrases,
Mm-hmm.
and that are not encouraging or embracing you. And so
Exactly.
I think that's
Exactly.
important to know that you don't have to stay stuck in
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
that cycle, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You can
Exactly.
actually overcome this. You can
Mm-hmm.
believe in yourself. You know, it's funny, right? I mean, I've always been a talker.
Mhm.
I've always been a talker. Since I was a little kid, I was a talker. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And but I wasn't the smartest and I wasn't the prettiest, the cutest. Okay. But I had these other attributes, and
Mm-hmm.
I also had a mother who always encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "You are
Mm-hmm.
articulate." She
Mm-hmm.
she wouldn't use that word, but she would say stuff like, "Girl, you could speak anywhere, and you're not
Mm-hmm.
afraid to do this, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not afraid to do." I use the word
Mm-hmm.
articulate, but she would encourage me to the
Mm-hmm.
point of knowing that I did have, I may not have the other things
Uh-huh.
as everybody else,
But
but
you're
I have
just as
other
valuable.
things, right,
Right.
that I'm
Mm.
just as valuable.
Right.
And a
Right.
lot of times, a lot of people don't grow up with that
Mm-mm.
encouragement or even that
Mm-hmm.
interpretation of understanding that you are
Right.
valuable.
You
Right.
know, until I started working with the state and meeting other people outside of my bubble, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand that. I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
realize that some parents are jealous of their kids. I had never
Yeah.
heard of that. I never
Mm-hmm.
understood that because I didn't have that
Mm-hmm.
growing up. Does that
Uh-huh.
make sense? And
Yes.
so
Yes.
it was kind of like eye opening. It was like a whole different world. And I'm like, it seems so foreign, abnormal,
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
I just can't understand that because why would you be
Right.
jealous of your child? Why would should want your children to do better than you?
Right. And I see that all the time.
Well, some people come from
Mhm.
places that
Yes,
they were never ever able to mature themselves.
that's right.
And so because they
That's
weren't
right.
able to mature or see something that was nurturing
Hmm.
that should be,
Yeah.
okay? So they can't
Hmm.
mimic that when they become parents. Can't
Exactly.
support their kids. They can't support, they support them
Mhm.
externally, but not that emotional
Uh-huh.
support
Mhm.
that is really
Hmm.
needed. My
Hmm.
mother worked 2 jobs
Yeah.
when I was growing up. So I was a latchkey kid. And
Uh-huh.
so, but she worked her hardest
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
make sure that
Hmm.
I had. Now, again, I became a different parent because I made sure
Uh-huh.
to be a different
Right.
parent, um,
Uh-huh.
and being there present. I wanted to be, because I didn't have
Right.
presence. Even though she was verbal, she worked all the time. She had no
Hmm.
choice to work. But
Hmm.
I chose, when I had my daughter, I wanted to be present in the moment.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So, and I know Chantel's a lot the same because with
Mhm.
Hmm.
her children, she's very present, you
Right.
know.
Hmm.
And so that's important. But I do believe that nurturing that
Yeah.
comes from, that's encouraging.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times people don't have that
Yeah.
in their background.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
Okay. So they don't know how to encourage themselves
Exactly.
do that, to seek deep down in with themselves and find out what qualities do you have,
Exactly.
and
Hmm.
what are you capable of doing, or they're
Right.
shooting
Exactly.
shots that's not realistic, because I know
Hmm.
sometimes I've talked to people who will be shooting shots that are really not
Mhm.
realistic,
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, you can be at whatever you want to be, but are you willing to make the sacrifices that go along with this dream?
And
Hmm.
that's all about it's all about sacrifices.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's not and
Hmm.
that's not so much a fear of failure. That's
Uh-huh.
just really not being honest with you about,
Right.
I really do this?
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
um, I was, just a little transparency. I was thinking about doing a doctoral, and I got realistic with Charlene. I sure did. And I was like, do you really want to do this now? No, 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 I
Because
don't.
I was thinking
And
about doctoral program too, and I'm like, you know what? Not right now.
not right.
Yeah.
And,
I have
right.
too much other stuff going on.
I have so many other, right, so many other
Hmm.
irons in the fire that
Hmm.
will I be, and that's not fearful of the doctoral. That's
Mhm.
Yeah.
just the fact that I really don't think I'll have enough time to, because there's a lot of time you have to
It's a
put
lot of time.
in that dissertation.
Hmm.
And I
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
don't think I want to do that,
Hmm.
Right.
but
Yeah.
there have been other things that I have
Right.
been fearful of, and the good thing was I had enough people around me who were so
Hmm.
supportive, Chantel,
Hmm.
who
Mhm.
my friend Felicia, she's not, I don't know if she's watching or not, but she also was a great encouragement, that said, listen, hey, you can do this again. You can do X,
Hmm.
Y, Z again. And so when
Hmm.
you have people in your life who are encouraging you to
Hmm.
do things, that's ways to overcome those
Exactly.
early childhood things.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what we
Hmm.
are, those early childhood
Hmm.
mindsets that prevent us from moving forward.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
here's my
Exactly.
question to you, Dr. Thelma.
Hmm.
What would you tell someone who has had some of those childhood, early year barriers, that not latent in life, but there's stuff that's deep rooted?
Uh-huh.
What would
Hmm.
you suggest to
Hmm.
someone who comes to you, or is really stuck there, not
Hmm.
Mhm.
in today's stuff, but stuck that they can't move
Hmm.
forward because they're stuck in the past? What would you say
Right.
to them to do? What would you suggest?
Well, first of all, I would tell them, because I know even from my environment, my mom was very supportive, but we were in a she was in a abusive a relationship. So when you're in those abusive relationships, well, that kind of overflows on your kids. And so I would tell a person, I never tell a person that you can't do something,
Mhm.
because if you put your mind to it, you can do just about anything you set your heart to do.
Mhm.
But that fear will tell you that you can't do it and you won't do it. And so it keeps a lot of people from even trying to do it for fear of not being able to make it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I would tell them, you almost would have to unlearn everything that you have learned in the past.
Mhm.
Unlearn all that negative vibes that people spoke over you, all that negative chatter that goes on in your head that tell you that you can't do this, or you can't make it happen. Let me tell you what, I don't care if you have to eat a piece of pie every month. Just take a piece at a time. Don't try to eat all the pie,
Mhm.
because if you look at it like, you almost have to change your mindset. And
Mhm.
each victory that you have, celebrate that victory. Because when I first started, I honestly didn't believe I could do it. And so I got my associate first. Now it took me 5 years to get a 2-year degree, but I took it a little bit at a time. I took little chunks. Don't try to take all of it, just take chunks. But you can just about do anything that you set your heart to do if you and celebrate you.
Mhm. I would
Because
say,
sometimes,
the
go ahead.
mind can make you or break you. The mind
Yes,
is a
ma'am.
powerful tool, and if you don't
Powerful.
have control of your
Mhm.
mind,
Yeah.
you won't have control of your life. Because if you give
Hmm.
into what your mind is telling you, sometimes
Yeah.
it could derail you. So I
Yeah.
think it would be getting control of your thoughts.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
that chatter in your head, I tell you,
Mhm.
you have to stop that thought,
Mhm.
because that chatter will take you someplace.
It will. It will.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, we're encouraging people to find a therapist.
Mhm.
Find a
Oh
Therapy
therapist.
is
God, yes.
good. You could just
So
dump
Yes.
everything on
everything
that therapist
and leave it there.
and leave it
And
there.
leave it
And
there.
leave it there. And
Hmm.
so just to kind of give an adage, and we'll be encouraging that, going forward as we go forward in the coming sessions that we have, that
Hmm.
therapy is good.
It's
Therapy
Mhm.
is
good.
safe. Safe
Hmm.
therapy is safe. And I'm not saying it
Hmm.
because we're therapists. I'm saying because you don't have
Yeah.
to come to us. What
Right.
we're saying is that you
Yes.
need to find someone that you can talk to. And just what
Hmm.
they just said, someone you can dump
Hmm.
off into,
Hmm.
help you to get that negative chatter, and there's so many techniques to work on to get rid of that negative chatter that's
Hmm.
Mhm.
in, that we can
Hmm.
push in positive self-talk and push out that negative chatter.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
we encourage you to find a therapist.
Hmm.
On Psychology Today, you can
Hmm.
find a therapist. And there's some other
Hmm.
outlets out there we can share with you as well
Mhm.
before
Hmm.
we leave today. But therapy is key to get that old time chatter. I love
Oh yes.
out of your head. Get it out of your
Hmm.
head. So you
Mhm.
have room for new thoughts.
That's
That's
right.
right. That's good.
Room for new thoughts and new
That's
ideas.
good.
Because
Hmm.
sometimes we can't have room for new ideas or even
Hmm.
understand them.
Right.
We couldn't
Hmm.
even, if somebody gave
Hmm.
us an idea, we couldn't understand it because all that
Hmm.
old chatter is going
Mhm.
on the
Uh-huh.
inside. So in
Hmm.
this case, we can
Hmm.
push that out to get the new
Hmm.
stuff in. All right.
Exactly.
So that's a
Exactly.
cool one. That's a cool one. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Chantel, you want, because I asked a question right after yours. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So did we say strategies to overcome fear of failure?
Mm-mm.
Strategies. Well, like I said before, strategies to overcome. Uh, put you some new tools in your tool belt. Just like Charlene said, take that old chatter out your head and put new chatter. Get you some new vibes, some new positive vibes, strategies, or um, I tell people all the time, you have to just strategize, write it down,
Mhm.
and then ask yourself, what do you like about yourself? Because that's another thing. A
Mm,
lot of times people don't like anything about themselves,
Right.
And so if they don't like anything about themselves, they don't know who they are and they don't know what they can do. Ask yourself, what do you want? What's your true self? Who are you? What do you like?
Okay.
How do you want to implement this? And,
Mm.
and and write you some goals. And I don't make New Year's resolution. I tell my clients all the time. I say I don't like New Year's resolution. What I like is goals.
Mhm.
Set you some goals. And even if you don't meet those goals all the way, make you some goals anyway. And even
Mhm.
if you meet, and do a scale when you're doing the goals, a scale. Okay, from 1 to 0, 1 to 1 being your lowest, 10 being your highest. Where are you on that scale of reaching that goal?
Mhm.
Do that quarterly, 3 months. Because if you don't hold yourself accountable for doing those goals and working on those goals, you won't do them
Mm. Okay.
because you'll get real comfortable after January, and then you'll stop working on it, or else you'll get so disgusted in it that you won't try to do anything different. And we know what that is. The essence of stupidity is to say you want something different, and then you keep doing the same thing over and over. So you
Mhm.
never. Life is about changing. It's about evolving. So as you change and evolve, and find that new you, and then what happens is when you're looking for that new you almost got to create that new you. So if
Mhm.
you're not putting
Mhm.
anything in your tool belt to create that new you, well, that old you will still resurface because that old you is still there.
Okay.
That old you of doubt is still there.
That's good. That's
So
good.
Yeah.
what I heard is first you have to figure out who you are.
Yes.
And then I think
Hmm.
second one, you have to get from around the negative people.
Oh, yes.
So it's okay to be by yourself. It's
Hmm.
probably the best
Now,
time.
well, I wouldn't say it's okay to even the word tell you that it's not good for man to be alone.
Well,
So
I
it's
mean,
not good to. But I
not
know what you're
not
talking
you.
about.
Yeah, yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just using it as a metaphor.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
I'm just using it as a metaphor. It's not good for a person to be alone. Uh, because what happens if you be alone a lot, that
Mhm.
negative self-talk and that feeling sorry for yourself, woe is me, woe is
That's true.
me. It didn't happen. I thought I was gonna be so far along right now, and that didn't happen. Well, though that shadow, that negative shadow is there. It's
Hmm.
back there. So if you're by yourself, that's why you almost have to have an accountability partner. That's why I like talking to my colleagues, and we'll call and we'll check in with each other. That's why when Shirley said that, get yourself a therapist. And I'm not pushing my business. We're not pushing our business.
Mm-mm.
But you get you someone that you can dump that stuff on and you
Hmm.
can talk to and help you to move forward
Yeah.
because you cannot do that alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I like that. I like the fact that you brought that up because when you isolate or when you are by yourself, that could be re-triggering.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what I heard you say
Mm-hmm.
because sitting in alone, trying to accomplish things, and when
Mm-hmm.
they start to look like they're not working,
Mm-hmm.
things that are at the base of who
Mm-hmm.
I am begin
Mm-hmm.
to surface.
Yes.
And that could be the trigger that kicks all of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful about not setting ourselves up for
Mm-hmm.
triggering moments
Mm-hmm.
that are not healthy for us. Again, when we talk about
Mm-hmm.
mental health is the healthy part of
Mental
the
side.
emotional and mental status, right? And so we want to
Mm-hmm.
maintain that. And how do we maintain that is
Mm-hmm.
by being able to be in healthy environments, okay?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing when
Mm-hmm.
I'm no longer being supported
Mm-hmm.
by who I thought I was supported by.
Exactly.
So I have to know that too, because if
Exactly.
if you have been supporting up to a point, because there
Uh-huh.
are times, and so let's just get real for a minute. There are
Yeah.
times when you have outgrown your circle.
Right.
And yes.
Okay. And when
Uh-huh.
you've outgrown your circle,
Uh-huh.
people are not going to be able to be supportive for you because they don't understand. where you
Right.
are.
Right.
No.
Okay? But you have to be
Mhm.
intuitive enough to
Mhm.
know when it's time for me to move on. Because everybody
Mhm.
doesn't move because you move.
Right.
Okay.
All
Right.
right. Because you're moving in a direction, everybody's not moving in that direction.
Right.
We have
Exactly.
a circle. So sometimes when we're in these endeavors, we
Mhm.
have to be around people who are evolving just
Mhm.
like us,
Exactly.
so that they
Exactly.
can understand and appreciate
Mhm.
and also encourage. I can encourage you.
Exactly.
Iron sharpens iron, right?
That's
So
right.
in order for me to
Mhm.
be around people who
Yeah.
are like me, you don't have to have the same thing I'm doing. You don't have to do the same thing,
Uh-huh.
but you
Mm-mm.
have to be in a mindset of evolving.
Right.
Okay?
Mhm.
I was having a conversation the other day with someone about money,
Mhm.
and my intimate friends know my whole thing about money. They know where I think, how I think about money, right?
Mhm.
And so when I say things, they're not shocked. You know, I
Mhm.
said something to Chantel
Mhm.
earlier. I was like, I'm not doing that. And so,
Right.
you know, she wasn't offended by what I said. She didn't think,
Right.
oh, Charlene thinks she better than. No, she doesn't
Uh-huh.
think like that. You know, and I was talking to
Uh-huh.
someone else earlier in the week
Mhm.
about something else with referencing money, and
Mhm.
you know, they weren't offended by my thoughts
Exactly.
because they understand that
Mhm.
that's where I am in life. It has nothing to do
Uh-huh.
with anything else. It's that's
Mhm.
where I am, and they can encourage, and they can
Mhm.
understand. I can encourage them. They can encourage me,
Mhm.
and we
Mhm.
understand where we are. But you can't have
Mhm.
people in your life, especially when you're trying to evolve. And I'm going to use that as
Mhm.
an example. Financially, if
Mhm.
you're trying to get out of a hole, and everybody
Uh-huh.
you're with is in a hole,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
they're not understanding why you're trying to
Exactly.
get out. Okay.
Exactly.
So same things with the ladies. If you really want to mate and you really want a partner,
Right.
it's not always good to be around a bunch of single ladies. Ain't nothing
Uh-huh.
wrong with single ladies, ain't nothing wrong with them, okay?
Right.
But if
Right.
their mindset is working and creating themselves, and they're not thinking about a husband, they can do things by themselves, and you want a husband,
Yeah.
they can still be your friends, but I probably would not, that wouldn't be the friends I talk to about my
Mhm.
mate.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mhm.
So and I like I heard you say, we have to be around people who are going to
Mhm.
help to encourage
Yes.
those internal feelings, those
Exactly.
internal thoughts to
Mhm.
continue to encourage them. So
Exactly.
and that's why, you know, we talk about getting a therapist, because a
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
therapist is unbiased,
Right.
Right.
and they can sit and talk to you, or you
Right.
can get a coach. Let's
Right.
take that too. I don't leave the
Exactly.
coaches out. Coaches are great too. Okay,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
they have life
Mhm.
coaches, relationship coaches, financial
Mhm.
coaches. There are people
Exactly.
out there who you can get to and talk with, who
Mhm.
can help you to set
Mhm.
those goals and knock
Exactly.
out some of that fear
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
of
Yeah.
failing. Right.
Mhm.
So I
Exactly.
think that's awesome. I think that's awesome.
Exactly. It remind me of that stage, homostasis. And
Mm.
it's a term in counseling, but you learn that term when you in school taking those classes. But what I've noticed is you hardly use that term anymore. You know,
Mm-mm.
they give you so many terms that they want you to learn, but a lot of them you don't use them again. But I was just thinking about that when you said that homostasis, that's like person. So
Mhm.
and then you're drawn to that like person, that person that you think like, that person
Mm-hmm.
that you have the same uh similar ideals,
Mm-hmm.
similar goals, similar journey, that homostasis that keeps you grounded in and that homostasis will keep you grounded where you won't just really jump off a cliff.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
if you're not, like Chantel said, uh, when you asked me about being alone, no, because you don't know what kind of chatter. And see, all of us are not above that chatter.
Right.
We're not above that chatter at all.
Mm-hmm.
Any little trigger, any little trauma can lead us to where we just like, wow. And you could get there because even when we were talking about earlier, when overcoming the fear of failure and then having fear. Well, if you're a person that's not well grounded, uh, not a self-motivator.
Mhm,
Well, those things can take, let me tell you what, it can take you some places, that
mhm,
chatter, because it's so vital. And see, and what we're going through right now in this season, this is the weirdest season. I have talked to so many people that it is so weird. You have really got to make sure that you're connected up with the right mindset. Because
mhm,
if not, all that stuff, like Shirley said, all those dreams you had, all of those plans, and a lot of people went to school for this. A lot of people lost their jobs. Well, what happens? That leads you to uh, failure, the feeling
mhm,
failure, and it's
mhm,
not failure, but you that child will tell you, well, look, you're not gonna make it. Your
mhm,
job is not of a big demand anymore. So
Mm.
overcoming that fear of failure, putting some tools in your tool belt in order for you to move forward. Because, and even because there's so much going on, you get past one stage of the virus, and then there's another stage of the virus.
mhm,
And so we're in a season of this season where you have got to make sure that you don't give in, succumb to the fears and the failures that goes with it.
mhm,
Yeah.
Well, here's my question. What if, because the way way things are going now with jobs and careers and everything, what
Hmm.
if it's a person who's had a job for many years but wants to evolve and is ready? They're mentally ready. They've done some things, but but time has changed.
Yeah.
Market
Hmm. Right.
is looking at millennials, not at baby boomers, and we're the baby
Hmm.
boomers.
Yeah.
And
mhm,
so, um, and you've gotten a bunch of no's.
Yeah.
You've gotten a bunch of no's,
Hmm.
and that creates fear.
Yeah.
mhm.
Creates
Uh-huh.
a sense of failure. How do you
Hmm.
overcome that? How do you overcome that barrier?
Okay, you know what? I was sitting here as you were saying that, and that picture behind you said the best way to predict the future is to create.
Okay.
Well, that's it. The best way to predict the future is to create. This season here, I don't know if you've noticed a lot how many people are creating their own.
Mhm,
Okay.
A lot of people are creating their own. They're creating their own businesses, and if and that goes back to who are you connecting with? Are you
Yeah.
strategizing? Who are you talking to? Because um, you have to be. Because I was listening to Bishop the other day when he was saying that you in this season here you're gonna have to connect up with some people that's got some good ideas, and not be afraid, that back to that fear again, and not be afraid, oh, they're gonna steal my good idea, they're gonna take my good idea, they're gonna use my good idea. Let me
Yeah.
tell you what, when the Lord gave you that good idea, he gave you that good idea and he gave it to 3 or 4 other people. So you take that village and you put that village together and you make that good idea work,
mhm,
because that's what's happening. People are having to create, because we are a creative group of people. So if you have a mindset that put this stuff, write it down, write the vision down, put that stuff together. Now you may have a piece of the puzzle, and this other person may have another piece of it. And then y'all put those pieces together, then you got a whole puzzle filled out. So that's what I would suggest that in this season in order to move forward. Because in this season to move forward, you have to be willing to grow and to move and to learn stuff differently. It don't mean that it's not going to work. It means that you have to learn it a little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just be willing to be open to um, even the no's,
Yes.
even the
Even the
not
no.
nows,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because
There
what we have to realize is all in God's timing. So just
Yeah.
because we got to know doesn't mean that, delay doesn't mean denial.
Right,
It may not be our
exactly.
time.
Right,
He may see something that's coming down the pipe, and he's like,
right,
no, just wait till this passes.
Mhm, mhm.
Just like
mhm,
what Miss Thelma
right,
says. He told her, those first 7 times weren't your time,
uh-huh,
but
mhm,
now is your time.
mhm,
You
mhm,
see, so it's not
mhm,
now timing, and I think that's
mhm,
why a lot of people get discouraged, depressed, because
mhm,
they want it when they want it,
mhm.
and it's all about
Yeah,
when God is ready to give it to you.
mhm,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I just feel too that one of those times when she and I both had taken and did not pass,
Mhm,
uh, that was a time for us to connect.
mhm,
It gave us enough
mhm.
room because we
Yeah,
wouldn't have been on that page. We wouldn't
it
have been,
wouldn't,
because as soon as I
no,
passed, I came off the page. I wasn't on the page anymore. So
right.
um,
Mhm,
we wouldn't have crossed each other at.
uh-huh,
And so
mhm.
I do believe some things happen for a reason. I do
Yes,
believe
yes,
some of those,
yes.
like Chantel said, some of that delay, that denial at that moment is not a no
Mhm,
because
mhm,
it's not you. You can't have this
mhm,
or you can't do this. It's just the fact
mhm,
that timing is important.
mhm.
And you need to
Timing.
experience that moment because even
Mhm,
because even we as Christians would be like, well, I prayed and I believed and I just believed God for it. Well,
mhm.
it was for you to have the experience.
Exactly,
The experience
exactly,
that wasn't so much a failure. That was for you to have this experience.
exactly.
And what do you get out of it? How do you learn it? What do you learn
Yes,
from it? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
right,
it's an opportunity just to have a chance
exactly,
to experience this, to know that there's something else a little higher.
exactly,
I'm gonna be honest
exactly.
with you. I didn't pass twice. The third time was my charm. And so and when I hit it the third time, um, I think I was at a different mindset by then. I think
Uh-huh,
I was, and this is just my thought. I think I was a little bit more mature for this.
mhm,
Okay, where
uh-huh,
I am at this point in my life, practicing therapy, I'm at a different place than I was 10 years
mhm,
ago,
mhm,
or back in 2012. I was
mhm,
a different, oh, that was 10 years ago, 10 years ago,
mhm,
and so it allowed me to have a whole different respect
mhm,
for the profession. I knew
mhm,
I was called to the profession, but it allowed me
mhm,
to look at it differently when I
mhm,
came to it.
mhm.
And there were some other things that came about that timing was so intricate
Yeah,
for me to
exactly.
hit some things. I needed to walk a
Mhm,
certain way and
mhm,
connect with a certain amount of people. But had I passed the test before, I wouldn't have done that.
mm-mm,
I wouldn't have done it.
mm-mm,
So at
mm-mm,
this rate, it allowed
mhm,
me not only to study a little
mhm,
bit more, to
mhm,
become a little bit more savvy in certain areas.
mhm,
Okay. So
mhm.
failure doesn't always mean that I'm out.
No,
Failure could be, you need more time
no,
to focus on this. You need to
right.
focus on some things. So I love the fact where you said to sit
Yes,
down and write down who you are. What is it
yes,
you really want? I like that.
yes.
And
Mhm,
be able to determine,
mhm,
what is it? Let's be clear. Is
mhm,
path? And if you're saying, yes, this is my path,
mhm.
'cause I know you and I had
Yes,
that conversation, like, I
exactly,
know I'm supposed to do this. That piece I'm not
exactly.
confused about. I know I'm supposed to do this. It's just I got
Yes,
this test hump, right?
yes, yes,
That quantifies me to be quote unquote a therapist.
exactly.
And the funny part was, I remember you and I having a conversation, Dr. Thelma. I would miss it by 2 points.
That's what will
You
get
know
me.
that? I was like, I missed it by 2 points. I can't believe
Yeah.
by 2 points. Or the next batch of people who tested,
Yeah.
they got lower than me, but yet they
Okay.
passed. I, I, I
Okay.
I was so discouraged. I remember feeling like that.
Yes.
But it was like, nope, I'm gonna connect you with the
Mhm.
right people.
Yes.
I remember when you and I got together, we were like encouraging one another. And
Uh-huh.
And even when I passed and you were still working on yours, I remember
Mhm.
calling you saying, checking in, how you doing? How's things
Mhm.
going? And you're like, well, this is what happened. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
we're gonna pray. We're gonna still,
Mhm.
still believing,
Yeah.
still hoping,
Mhm.
still believing that this is the calling, and when
Yes.
you don't give up,
Oh my God.
it all comes together when you
Oh my
give up,
God.
when you don't give up.
When
And I
you
can think
don't
of,
give up.
we're talking about the exam, but I'm gonna be honest with you. There are some times in my life that I've
Mm.
experienced, and I know you ladies
Mhm.
have too, have
Mhm.
experienced some things in life. May not have been tests, it might have been other things that have
Right.
happened that you were just like, I need to throw the towel on this. But
Right.
because you believed in you
Yes.
believed in you. So sometimes,
Yes.
knowing yourself, just kind of going back to what
Exactly.
Dr. Thelma said, writing down
Exactly.
a list, finding out who you are, you
Exactly.
can say to yourself, nobody else has to tell you. You
Mhm.
can you
Mhm.
can tell yourself. That's that self-talk,
Yourself.
right?
Mhm.
That you know what, I can do this. That's not
Mhm.
a narcissist, and I have to always remind my
Mhm.
client, it's not a narcissistic statement
No.
to say,
Mm-mm.
I can
No,
do,
it's not. No. Uh-uh.
I can do this. I know I can do this.
Right.
Okay. Sometimes you have to say it with the I know, girl, you know.
Oh, right.
You
And
gotta
it's
say
not
it
being
to
all,
yourself.
like you said, narcissistic.
That's not
It's like
narcissistic.
you have to believe in you
You gotta
and
believe
you
Mhm.
got
that
to
nobody
speak to
else
you.
Mhm.
Yes.
does.
Uh-huh.
Just
It's
believe.
almost like when you were saying that, it's almost like you have to own your fear.
Right.
You have to own it, the fear of failure. You have to own that, and then you also have to get to a point where you stop, you listen, and you think, and then you act. Because let me tell you, when I tell you that you have to talk yourself through this,
Mhm.
whatever that is that have you stuck,
Yes,
or wherever it is that keeps you from moving forward, if you don't put some tools in your tool belt to encourage yourself, you won't do this.
right.
You will quit.
My new
It's
motto
it.
now is, if it doesn't make me nervous, then I'm not doing the right thing.
Okay, right. That's it.
Hmm,
That's it.
that's good. That's
That's
good.
it. That's good.
Good.
Yeah.
If I'm not nervous, I must not be doing something right.
Okay, that's good. And that's it. Yeah.
I think my biggest issue is that I always believe in doing something once. I believe in myself. I do. I believe in Shirley. Okay. So I'll do it once. I'll try it once. And if it begins to deplete me emotionally
Mhm.
and financially too much,
Yeah.
I will start to look at it a little deeper.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Say, okay, maybe
Mhm.
this is not for me. You
Right.
but I do have to feel a certain way, that I have to feel good about me embarking.
Right.
Chantel says she has to, if she doesn't feel nervous, but if I don't feel like I'm encouraged and I'm
Mhm.
satisfied, that I feel a sense of pride within myself about it,
Mhm.
it's probably
Mhm.
not good.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
I'm like I said, I'm willing to do anything once,
Mhm.
but after that, I'm apprehensive. Okay, I'm gonna give another little treasure here. When Chantel and I started this, I was okay,
Mhm.
but I just, sometimes I got a little weary, and she knows I got a little weary along the way, you
Mhm.
know, and then I got myself encouraged. I had to encourage myself to see where,
Mhm.
because I could see the
Mhm.
light. I could see what
Yeah.
we were doing. You remember that,
Mhm.
Chantel?
Mhm.
I could
Mhm.
see, but sometimes I'd pull back because I'm feeling
Mhm.
weary. I'm feeling weary.
Mhm.
Mhm.
When I feel
Uh-huh.
weary, you can visibly tell I have left the building. And
Uh-huh.
so so uh, so I have to get back on. I have to I have to do this
Uh-huh.
self-talk within myself,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
I'll take on so many things, and then
Right.
I can't find it's too much weight. So
Uh-huh.
I have to find my place and get my
Mhm.
footing. And so
Mhm.
once we got back on track, I got back on track. It wasn't her, it was me. Once I got back on track, I was
Mhm.
able to, I had to explain that to her. Like,
Mhm.
listen, I know me. I'm in. I just gotta
Mhm.
get myself
Yeah.
together. you know,
Mhm.
and, but once I'm in, I'm totally in, you
Right.
know,
Uh-huh.
and,
Mhm.
I am probably the first one there because I'm in, and we have
Mhm.
to get ourselves, we have to be able to know ourselves enough to know
Yeah.
when it's too much,
Yeah.
when it's
Mhm.
not enough,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
to do that self-talk to encourage
Yes.
ourselves, you know,
Mhm.
ask ourselves
Mhm.
the questions. Is this too much? Ask ourselves the question.
Yes.
Mhm.
Can you really handle this? You know,
Yes.
there's a technique called a decisional balance we use in our curriculum at work. And one of the things we use with the decisional balance is to be able to weigh out the pros and the cons.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes
Mhm.
it's too many cons on the plate. And when there's too many
Mhm.
cons on the plate and I recognize it, I got to be able to say, that's not
Okay.
done.
Mhm.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just not good.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
You know, and we have to all know what is not good for us, right?
Mhm.
Because what
Exactly.
happens is sometimes that fear, and I didn't, we didn't go down this road yet. Sometimes
Mhm.
that fear is a warning sign.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
not,
Yeah.
it's an internal trigger that says, this ain't,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
this ain't good. You know,
Yeah.
Joseph didn't have it when he was talking to his brothers. He didn't have that internal trigger. Okay. Because they end up
Mm.
throwing him in the
In a
pit.
pit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
They threw him in the pit. Okay.
Right.
But he didn't have that internal thought
Or he
saying,
might have, but ignored it because that was his brothers. You know.
that okay, that's another good wait. No, that's a good
Mhm.
point.
That's
Right?
good.
Sometimes we're so trusting of other people
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we kind of we have apprehensions, we have
Yeah.
fear, and fear could be something that it's like a sign telling us, no, don't do this, don't
Right.
Mhm.
go here. But we're trusting all the outside environment and
Instead
Right.
not
of trusting ourselves.
our own internal triggers. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
That goes back to instinct also.
Mhm.
Instinct and being able to discern.
Mhm.
Because oh golly, I would just think about because you got to discern if everybody's in your village because everybody that's with you are not in your village. And so he thought they was in his village. And so what happens even when it's not good to be alone when you get a good idea, well you have discernment on who to share that good idea with
Right.
because you will have discernment to know that everybody cannot celebrate you. They're not equipped to celebrate you.
Mhm.
So sometimes that causes you to kind of pull back a little bit because you have to know in this journey if they in all the way with you. If they're not in
Mhm.
all the way, well, you got to know, well, you got to pull back.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yep.
You know, you that brings up another topic. That brings up another subject for me. You know, sometimes people are fearing failure because they are not around. We talked about this before a little bit, but really, you can actually be drawn to the wrong people,
Mhm.
Wow.
right? You can be drawn
Yeah.
to, you know, if I want to be around a bunch of powerful women, but yet and still they're kind of dishonoring me or
Oh, wow.
discounting me, you
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
would be an issue. Wouldn't that be an issue?
Wow. Yeah.
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 I
That's,
mean, that
yeah,
too would bring up the fear of failure as
it
well.
can. Yes, it can. That's why when Chantel was asking that from the beginning, I said, well, really, failure and fear could come from a lot of different ways. It don't have to be necessarily be from taking an exam or from your environment. It can come from a lot of different ways. It can come from, oh my God, you can really write a list of things that it could come from that
Yeah.
can have you stuck.
Stuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Or just
wow,
having these unrealistic, again, unrealistic thoughts
hmm,
about um
that spirit,
aspirations.
false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a powerful emotion.
It is
It's
because
very powerful.
And then we can't understand when we're not realistic, we can't
Mhm.
understand why things are not happening.
Exactly.
Okay. And that
Mhm.
creates those unrealistic moments. And it also
Mhm.
creates that fear, like you said,
Exactly.
failure, that the evidence, I like it, false evidence appearing real.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
here you are not
Mhm.
being able to be
Oh,
truthful because you're hanging out or wanting to be around all these influentials, and these
right.
influentials are not paying you any mind.
No.
You know,
Mm-mm.
and I think something you said earlier, in today's time, you have to become creative. You brought that up
Yes.
earlier. You have to have
Yes.
a creative nature to
Yes.
create something that accentuates your value.
That's right.
And
Exactly.
you have to know that. You have to
Mhm.
know who you are in the midst of this, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. You have to know who
Exactly.
you are in the midst of it. And so, what steps, now you've given us some information, but what other steps could we use in overcoming no, that's not what my question I want to do. I want to do, how do you create a new self standard? A new self standard to begin to flourish. How do you
Okay.
create a new self standard?
Mhm.
Okay, because I mean, a person
Mhm.
has failed, things keep happening that's wrong.
Mhm.
How do you create a new standard for self? Okay, that
Mhm.
will begin you or begin the person to flourish. How do you do that?
I would say explore the power of affirmation
Mm,
because you have to be in a place where you self affirmate, and then also spend time spend time on things that really matter. And the reason what I say
give us
self
an example
affirmation,
of
because
that. Give us an example of that.
okay, yeah, because what I do, I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I tell myself, I said, Thelma, I believe in you because you are a champion. Now, do I believe that every day? No, I don't believe I'm a champion every day. But I keep telling myself that every day, even when I don't believe in myself. I tell myself, I believe in you because you are a champion. And if you
Mhm.
say that enough times, you're going to believe it.
Mm, mm.
You're going to change your mindset and you're going to speak positive on you because you believe it. And also, you have to work on your self control.
Ooh. Let-
Yeah, yeah,
Let's let's
yeah,
let's 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 talk about that for a second,
yeah.
okay?
Work on
Woo! Work
yourself.
on self-control.
Work on your self control. Work on how you handle situations, because situations will break you down or they will build you up. And
Mm,
I think you said something like that a few minutes ago, Chantel, because it'll make you or it'll break you. Oh, yes, ma'am. It will build you up or it will break you down. You have to work on your self control and spend time on what really matters. Some stuff, it don't matter at all.
mm,
And I'm in this season, I'm all about, I don't like wasting my time. My time is important. I don't want to do anything that's going to waste my time, because if it's not gonna build me up, make me feel better, keep me motivated, keep me energized. If it's not gonna do that, that's a negative vibe. I don't have time for negative energy. Not in
mm,
this season.
mhm.
Mm-mm. Cannot do it. I cannot and will not.
I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you said spending time on what matters,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the things that we've done in the past, not that they don't matter, but they're not significant in this moment, in this season.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I like sitting watching soap operas, that is not empowering me
No.
to do other things,
Mm-mm.
correct? If
Mm-mm.
I if I want to become emotionally healthy, I need to do
Mm-hmm.
some things that will help my mental health
Mm-hmm.
and emotional health to grow, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
reminds me
Sometimes we have, go ahead.
when I was at your house that night, we were talking about we still looking at Christmas movies. I said And so I was laughing because a few minutes ago, I'm still looking at Christmas movies. Because one thing about a Christmas movie, they gonna always end up happy. They might run into a little drama in the middle, but in the end, they gonna always end up happy. So,
And
so like you said, soap operas, they go on and on and on. They like it. I remember years ago, I used to look
Drama.
at soap operas, and now when I think about a soap opera, I say, God, when they gonna ever be happy?
Never
So no,
happy. They're always miserable. They're always
yes,
in turmoil. And
yes.
so sometimes we're caught in that, or some of those what do you call those? Those real sitcoms they have on now.
Oh, those reality shows.
Oh, a reality
Reality
show.
shows, right?
Oh,
Sometimes we get caught up
yeah,
in that. Some people get caught up in that.
yeah,
And sometimes we need to, I heard this morning on the news, she was talking about sleep, because I have a hard time sleeping sometimes. And because my stuff is still going on when I lay
yeah.
down, stuff is still
Mhm.
happening. And she was talking about healthy ways to help you to calm yourself, doing some of that CBT stuff and just calm
Mhm.
yourself, And
Mhm.
one of the things she was talking about is shutting the TV off early,
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I have been doing that lately, shutting the TV off early. And because when I come home, I have so much busyness going on with other
Right.
people. I have
Uh-huh.
to turn on something that
Right.
separates me from the continued talk. Um,
Mhm.
Chantel, I don't know if you remember, sometimes I'll watch Andy Griffith, I'll watch I'll watch Bewitched, I'll watch, because
Yeah.
all of them, the old sitcoms always end on a positive note.
On the
Mhm.
positive note.
They
Mhm.
always end. They don't leave you with
Uh-huh.
cliffhanging and you're
Uh-huh.
like panting with
Right.
breath at the end. No,
Mhm.
no, no.
Right.
They always have an ending. And that's what those holiday movies do too. They always have
Mhm.
Yes.
a happy ending at the end. And
Mhm.
so a lot of times if I am not so much watching it, it's watching me, because I'm
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
waiting for the end to come, because I'm in
Uh-huh.
of it throughout the evening when I come home
Uh-huh.
from work, to help me to kind of get off the all day what I've been doing, just to get it
Mhm.
off of me. I need to do
Mhm.
something different that allows
Mhm.
me. Since movies have stopped, well, they're started back up now, but because of the pandemic, going to the movies was part of my self-care.
Right.
I go to the movies
Right.
twice a month because that was
Right.
part of my self-care.
Yeah.
In order to find a place to help me to feel better.
Yes.
Go to a place that separates me from the house, separates me. So
I
now
like
I
that.
try to do it here.
Yeah.
People do different things to help them
Yeah.
to do self-care. And we have
Yeah.
to be able to do that, spending time that matters, whether it's spending time with
Mhm.
yourself, spending
Yeah.
time with in inputting yourself, whether it is
Mhm.
reading, whether it is listening to podcasts that encourage you.
Mhm.
I know I don't usually tell people's names, but there's a particular therapist who she has a podcast. I'm not soliciting her podcast. I'm just
Uh-huh.
letting you know that she's really good, and it's Dr. Anita Phillips. She has a podcast, and I know I have listened to all of them already, so I'm up to date.
Uh-huh.
I had to catch up, but I caught up listening to it at work while I was
Uh-huh.
working, and they were
Uh-huh.
very encouraging, and they were able to give real life scenarios in order to help me sometimes, because the therapist needs somebody.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh
Okay.
my
I listen
God.
to everybody's problems, and sometimes I need to just kind of
Yeah.
Decompress.
that right and
Oh my
digest
God.
something different, because I'm constantly regurgitating things out and I need to take some
Uh-huh.
things in. I mean, I have the
Mhm.
word and I have, I listen to my pastor, but
Mhm.
I need something else sometimes to help
Yeah.
feed the soul, you know.
Yes.
So doing things that
Exactly.
help the matter. And I think that's an excellent point that you made. Finding what matters in your life,
Mhm.
whether
Yes.
it's going out, whether it's spending
Yeah.
time. Some people spending time with
Mhm.
their children.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you need to do to find that matters,
Mhm.
it needs to
Right.
help to build
Mhm.
your inner person so that
Exactly.
inner person can grow. Correct?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so
Exactly.
we have to find what's good for us. I remember in supervision,
Mhm.
when I was in supervision, I remember she ran that in the ground. She was every week. I think every time we met, she would say, "So what are you doing for your self care? What are you
Got
doing
to.
for your self-care? What are you doing for your
Yeah.
self-care? And I think that is so, and now I get it. It's so
Mhm.
crucial because you're constantly giving out, but you're not
Mhm.
taking that much in. And
Right.
so, and this is
Right.
to the everyday person, I would say the same thing. What are
Mhm.
you doing to help to replenish you,
Mhm.
even when the
Mhm.
no's come? Because that's
Mhm.
that's a hit to you. That's a hit.
Mhm.
You know, that's a hit
Exactly.
to your ego. That's a hit to your own person, inner being. And so, what are you doing to
Mhm.
replenish that? You can't eat
Exactly.
ice cream. No,
Right.
ice cream is not going to
Mhm.
help it.
No,
What
that's
Right.
you
not.
do, what you do to help yourself to
Yeah.
replenish,
Mhm.
finding that time to say, okay, it
Uh-huh.
didn't work this time. What do I do next? What do I do now?
Mhm.
Mhm.
How do I replenish that? And I
Mhm.
love that spending time to
Mhm.
what matters and not
Mhm.
talking and not feeling bad about it, but what can
Right.
you do to help to
Mhm.
build that? I love that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have affirmations, we have self-control, we have
Mhm.
spending time. We have anything else, Dr. Thelma?
And also make positive choices every day
Mm,
because you can, uh, if you make positive choices and stay away from the negative vibes, that helps a lot too. And to be more assertive by it, because what will happen, you get so you instead of you come from have a big family and then you get caught up in some of the stuff sometimes. So you have to make a positive choice and choose not to participate
mm,
because it can really get weighty. And,
Mhm.
and treat you like you said, get sleep. I don't sleep a lot either. I never have slept a lot. But treat your body with respect
mm-hmm,
because even if you're not sleeping, and what I have started doing is I just like I look, I go from side to side. I said one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, and I'll jump from side to side. I might do that maybe about 5 or 10 times a day. Just and if you just time yourself and just do it a minute, because also that's part of self-care, because what happens with us with this social distance, like Charlene said, she likes to she just like to go to a movie. See, I was saying that a few minutes ago. I was walking in the house. I was waiting, trying to wait till 3 o'clock, and I was saying, and I probably sound just like my grandkids because they are. And I said, "Oh my God, I'm so bored." And so, what happens when you're a active person and used to doing stuff? Well, this season here, that's why you have got to find a way to treat your body with respect and respect your body. Because let me tell you what, this social distance is something else. Because I used to get invited out to go speak in different places. Well, you don't get those no more. People don't do that. Our world has changed. So we're in a totally different place, and you got to create your self care as well.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I want to add another question to you real quick
hmm,
before we wrap it up. Relationships.
yeah,
Okay. There are a lot of people who want to connect to somebody and they haven't found that person, or they're having issues in their relationship, right? And
exactly.
so how do they overcome failure or the fear of failure within themselves about either the relationship or not even having a relationship? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I tell you what, that's one of those where I cannot even answer that honestly,
Mm,
because I run into that so much with different people. This is the craziest season to be in. I run into that, especially young adults. I, I said, Lord, it's such a sad place for them right now, trying to find a mate in the pandemic.
mm,
Trying to
this is,
uh,
yeah.
it's a prayerful situation right now.
Mm,
Um, I was telling somebody not too long ago because she was saying how it gets so lonesome. I said, well, I'll tell you what you might could try. I said, because you got this is one of those things where you got to be creative. Get you a couple of people and do Zoom. Do Zoom now and have dinner together on Zoom. Yeah, all of you sit down and get your sandwich or your whatever it is you want to drink or your wine or whatever, your tea, your coffee, and you sit there and you find your topic or find your subject and sit there and just chat. Uh, that will kind of help a little bit. I don't know. We're just in a funny place. I really can't. Oh wow. I would like to know that myself, Shirley. I would like to in this pandemic, what happens with when because I hear most of my clients say the same thing, and when they're trying to find someone, they're trying to find a mate. This is a funny season for that right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's about, I would think that it's about, like you said, connecting with others, um, maybe finding out, and I set social media, um, maybe different church functions that may have activities.
Mm-hmm.
There may be activity out there who actually are responding well to COVID. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they are encouraging people to wear masks and use social distancing,
Mm-hmm.
yet still interacting, but being able to be cognizant of social
Mm-hmm.
distancing and in terms of meeting. But in terms of a relationship that's not working, um, and having a fear of failure in the
Mm-hmm.
relationship, I would encourage again,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody's watching this, to look at counseling. Okay.
Yes,
You
exactly.
don't have to be in crisis to be in
Mm-hmm.
counseling.
Exactly.
Okay. You can be
Mm-hmm.
in an unsure place,
Mm-hmm.
can be in an uncertain place,
Mm-hmm.
and be in counseling to have somebody to dialogue with in a safe
Mm-hmm.
place. So
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. It's definitely a conundrum during this season
Mm-hmm.
of COVID, but I do think that when you're not in crisis, quote unquote, having problems, marital
Mm-hmm.
problems, but just not happy, you know, and fear of failing, I'm staying in this because I fear the failure of a marriage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think you should talk to somebody,
I think so.
you know,
Yes.
I think so.
an
I
avid
think
believer.
counseling keeps you out of crisis. How about that?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Going to
Or
counseling keeps you out of crisis.
it keeps you out of crisis and also helps to provide clarity in
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because it won't keep you out of it. Because
Well, you're
you,
right.
Well,
yeah, it
then
But
won't
it
keep you out of a
it'll
crisis.
help you through it.
It help you through it. Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
I think it'll also minimize some of the crisis because
Right.
you won't be fueling it.
Right.
Right.
You'll
Right.
learn
Right.
not to
Yeah.
fuel the crisis. Yeah,
Right. Right.
I agree. And
Yeah.
so being able to do that, excellent. That's awesome. Chantel, do you
Mm-hmm.
have another question?
I don't. I am all out of questions.
You're out of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Nelma, we have had a good time this
Yes,
evening.
we did.
And I saw people watching. Nobody asked any questions, but I saw people watching. We saw them on, I could see them on the post.
Echo
And
said, "Wow."
oh, Echo. Hey, Dr. Echo, how you doing? 2022. Yes, sir. I'm going to speak it into existence. Okay.
Yes.
Somebody out
Yes.
of us got to become a doctor too. Come on now.
Yes.
Come on. So yes, Dr. Echo, I'm saying it to you. But yeah, yes, we've enjoyed you
Yes, we
and
Thank
have.
you.
forward to, and I hope that we can get together again like this on this platform. We plan on, of course, we do something every month, but hopefully we can bring you back again and we can have another conversation because I've enjoyed this.
Yes, this was good.
Thank you.
And
And it was a godsend. It was a
Thank
godsend
you.
because when we were at, when we met and she
Yes.
brought up that subject,
Yes.
and I was like, that's a good
No,
topic.
I know we both
Uh-huh.
looked like that's a good topic. That's a good
Uh-huh.
no. So we're one of the things we can say, Chantel and I can say that we are definitely in sync. When we hear stuff, we'll be like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
that sounds good. So so we're looking forward to bringing you back. during 2022, because we want to encourage people this year. You know, one of the things that I enjoy about our platform is the fact that we have diversity and we talk about a lot of different things, not just mental health, not just mental awareness or emotional health. We talk about a plethora of things. Okay. A lot of times, sometimes we talk about things we don't even know about. Somebody has to bring it to the table, and we learn while we're on this platform as well. We're learning, but
Like lupus.
like lupus, we learn more about lupus, absolutely. But I think what I really, Chantel and I have talked about this, you know, really helping people this year, really helping people to get aware and to help them find themselves, you know. As clinicians, one of the things that we do is to help people and to help them to find themselves, not so much teaching them things all the time. You know, psychoeducation is great, but sometimes it's about helping the person to find themselves in that moment, you know,
vital.
You know, and now that Chantel is an MFTA, yes. She's an MFTA.
Cue the applause, cue the applause.
Yes. And so quiet as it's kept, I'm trying to catch up to her to get my MFT as well. And so, because I love couples, that's my thing. I love couples and substance abuse. And so, so as I have embarked upon the LPC, I definitely want to do that as well, you know. So we'll be coming back to you, Dr. Thelma. And like we have used Echo, I think we've used Echo a few times now. And we may just bring everybody back together and do a little summit online, right? We could do that.
We do need to do that though. I think we need to do a mental health summit or I told you about dating summit, because some of these articles that I read lately have piqued my interest about these women going missing on these dates. So I think that would be another good, because it's been a lot of them. It's been more than you know I would like to see.
Dating women. And
I just think it needs to be a conversation.
Well, again, we have enough people who are in the field we can bring on board. And Dr. Thelma, you are now part of our recruitment. Okay.
Well, okay.
So we're calling on you again in 2022. But in the meantime, listen, why don't you give the audience your information about your practice and where they can contact you. I know we're not here to solicit, but we are here to encourage. And somebody may have heard you today and they want to contact you. So give them information.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Dr. Thelma. And I'm an LPC, and my number is 817-832-8862. And my practice is 4701 Alta Mesa Boulevard. And if I can help anyone, reach out to me. My email address is ltfoster7@sbcglobal.net.
All
right.
right.
One more time, Dr. Thelma, your email address?
ltfoster7@sbcglobal.net.
Okay, and what's the name of your business again?
And the name of my business is Tohi, Teaching Others to Heal Inside.
Teaching others to heal inside. Okay, awesome. So again, we want to thank you, Dr. Thelma, and we thank those who watched today. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a blessed rest of your January.
All right. Y'all have a good
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.